Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our interview series. I am very excited to be joined here today with my good friend, Roberta Perry. Roberta, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I thought we could just dive right in with a couple of questions, get to know you. Feel free to give some anecdotes, tell us, really let us get to know you with this. So first, something easy, where are you from?
Well, that is easy. Currently, I'm living in Los Angeles, but I started in Seattle, Washington. But if I'm truly honest, I grew up in a small, not town, called Federal Way, Washington, which was located between Tacoma, Washington, and Seattle, Washington. So where am I from? Well, Federal Way, Washington, but now Los Angeles.
See, you said it was easy, but that was a whole story. There's plenty there.
Yeah.
So number two, please explain what you do and what sets you apart from other people in your industry.
My company is Roberta Perry and Associates, and I actually started that company 19 years ago, right after 9/11, because my industry, which is the entertainment industry, specifically the themed entertainment industry, that's the designers and producers who build theme parks, attractions, museums, anything in the physical environment. So my company, what we do or what I do is open doors for people. I am known as a business development catalyst. And when I asked my friend who helped me decide what the tagline for my company, I said, why a catalyst? And she goes, Roberta, you make things happen. I said, okay, I like it. Let's go with it. So I'm a business development catalyst in the themed entertainment industry or experiential industry these days.
Oh yeah, I have to say, in the time that I've known you, I don't know that there's anybody on this planet who is able to put people together as in a more perfect way than anyone I've met. So that's definitely a perfect title for you.
All right, thank you.
Number three, how did you get started on your career path?
I had one of those kind of crazy career paths because I literally started my career as a secretary. Well, prior to being a secretary, I thought I was going to be a professor of communication and rhetoric. I was on that track, got my master's degree in public address and rhetoric out of Bradley University in Illinois. I moved back to Seattle, didn't want to teach because there was no teaching positions at that point. So I became a secretary at Stuart Anderson's Black Angus Cattle Company restaurants. Now, I worked for the entertainment director. So that's what launched me into the world of nightclub and bars. Now, how I got from there to themed entertainment, that's another story.
Well, that's yes. If we had 3 hours to go through the entire the life and times of Roberta Perry, I'm sure there'd be plenty to talk about. Number four, who would you consider to be an inspiration or mentor in your life and career?
Well, I have been very, very fortunate to have so many mentors and inspirations in my life. But my first mentor and inspiration was my mother. She was born in Nome, Alaska, and then they're Irish, came over to work in the gold fields to find their fame and fortune there. And then when that didn't quite work out, they kept moving down Alaska and settled in Federal Way, Washington. And that's where they found me, literally. I'm adopted. So my mother was
my mother's adopted too.
Well, that was my first inspiration was mentor was my mom, because mom and my father came and found this little baby, 7 days old, at the Tacoma General Hospital, and said, hey, we'll take her home. So I've always blessed my mom and dad for saying yes and taking me home with them.
That's great. You learn something new every day. It's amazing. So to shift gears to something more on the professional side, because that's a heartwarming personal story, but number five, what's the most exciting project you're currently working on, or either personally or professionally?
That's
if
easy.
You could talk about it.
If I can talk about it. Well, there is one, yes, there is a project that I have been working on actually for the last 8 years. There is a company called Innovation Machine Technology. It has a patented product that takes plastics, all 7 grades of plastics, and it goes through the machine, and out the other end comes a, I'm not going to give you the official word for it, but out
Sure.
becomes a block of recycled plastic that can then be made into environmentally friendly products all over the
Oh,
planet.
wow.
And personally, that is a huge personal and professional goal of mine, is to help this planet handle our plastics project problem. And this company, Innovation Machine Technology, does that.
Wow. That's it. That's an area where any sustainability projects are definitely some of the more exciting ones that we look to work with too. So I completely I completely get it, why that's so important. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received? Number 6.
Came from Stuart Anderson himself. When I started as a secretary, he brought me into his office 3 days after I joined the company, and he brought me in and he said, "Roberta, I have some good news and I have bad news. The bad news is you're going to fail. Women fail in our industry more than men do, so you're going to fail. But the good news is, just say yes, walk down the street, join a Toastmasters club." And if I know people on this interview know what Toastmasters, it's an international organization with the sole purpose of developing our communication and leadership skills. So his just say yes, go join the club, has served me well. I joined that club for almost 50 years ago. And
Wow.
I have never, ever stopped being a Toastmaster, because in Toastmasters, I could go practice theory. I can fail in Toastmasters. But as you and I know, Corey, to develop our companies, we have to be on stages. We have to moderate panels. That's not the place to fail.
No.
Fail in a safe, secure, fun place. And then when you're on that stage, you're the professional that the audience expects and wants from us.
Yeah, and I know you've brought me in with into the Toastmasters in some degrees, and you definitely have left your mark on that organization.
Thank you.
Number 7, what's something you've learned about your business that you think is important for people just starting off to know early?
Wow, that's again a whole book in itself, or a whole lots of hours. But I think it's 2 things. One, don't be afraid to try things. That's number 1. Number 2, don't be afraid to pick up the phone and call people and ask their opinion, their advice, their help. Just don't be afraid. Had I known that earlier in my career, I wouldn't have held back so much. And I can't call them, or they're not going to want to talk to me. Who am I? Just get that out of the way and just not be afraid to pick up the phone and call.
That's great advice. Number 8, is there anything you could change or would like to have done differently during your career?
Yes, always. I have that bad habit, Corey, I think you do too, is that sometimes I look back at what I did and go, what are you thinking?
Oh yeah, sure.
There's a book that I other than your book, Corey, that I love on marketing to millennials. I do have another book by Simon Sinek, Senek, called Start With Why.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have had that information a long time ago, because I would get into things, and then as I got into them, I would ask the question, why am I doing that? That question should be asked at the very beginning of any adventure, or any new client I take on, or any new, whether it's a not-for-profit or profit company, to say, ask myself, why? Why am I doing that? What's in it for them if I do this? What's in it for me? And then be able to just kind of look at that in a balanced way, and then just say yes.
Great.
Or
yeah,
no.
it's an excellent book, and it's definitely, I would agree that having just the knowledge to ask such a simple question would make a huge difference in so much decision making. Yeah, for sure. Number 9, what's one thing you're most looking forward to after COVID, and why?
Travel. I cannot wait to get back on a plane. I've only been on one plane since COVID started, and that was in November, to Orlando, to the International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions show. I want to go back to China. I want to go to Taiwan. I want to go to Europe. Hey, I just want to go up to Seattle and visit my family. I
Yeah,
don't
well,
want to travel. So that's the one thing I'm looking forward to is
yeah,
to
you and
travel.
me, you and me both, absolutely. Number 10, what's one thing that you're currently reading or watching that you would recommend?
Well, I watch during pandemic. I've caught up on a lot of sitcoms and movies,
Sure.
but I have to say, whenever I need inspiration, I go back in and I watch the Star Trek film that J.J. Abrams did, the very first one,
Yeah, it's a great
because
movie.
there's something about that film that inspires me to jump in, be courageous, to also ask why. Then there's nothing like the two characters of Spock and Captain Kirk, the science, the asking why, and the just jumping in
The
and
gut.
doing it. Yeah, the gut feel. And every time I need a inspiration, boy, I go back in and rewatch that film. Don't ask me how many times I've watched it. That's what I do. Is go in and
That's
watch
a
Star
that's an
Trek by
excellent
the
movie.
J.J. Abrams. Yeah.
Excellent movie. All right. To wrap up here, I want to go through a couple of things that we like to call rapid fire questions. You ready?
All right, I
All
am
right.
ready.
Just speak from the gut. 1, beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Dogs or cats?
I love my dogs.
Chocolate or chips?
Oh, okay, I'll go with chocolate.
City or suburbs, country?
Oh, I love the country, but I love living in the city too. So.
Winter. See, it's not as easy as you think to pick one over the other. Winter or summer?
Summer, I like heat.
Suits or sweats?
Suits.
And home or office?
Office.
Office. Well, I think I think you answered pretty much everything that I would have answered. So nice to know that we're on the same page with a lot of those things. Roberta Perry, thank you so much for being a part of this interview series. I hope everybody enjoyed learning a little bit more about you, and we'll see you all next time.